Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel and Happy New Year. I want to wish everyone a happy 2019. This is going to be a huge year for all of us, I can feel it. One of my initial resolutions in 2019 was to update my UX portfolio. Previously, I'd been hosting my portfolio on one of those website builder tools, and it was just running really slow and it just wasn't up to par. So I really wanted to refine a few things and just build it in Webflow to make it run a bit smoother. In future tutorials, I'm actually going to walk you through some Webflow tips and tricks. But for now, I'm just going to share one of the UX projects I've been working on. The project I'm about to show you is actually my final deliverable for General Assembly's UX Immersive course. I'm going to link the course below. I think it's an awesome course, and no, I'm not being paid to say this. This is a course I just squeezed in right before the end of the year to kind of jumpstart my career in UX. I'm not going to get into too many details about the course itself. If you guys have questions, you can always ask me in the comments. I took the week-long condensed course, but I think there's a 3-month course that's a bit more stretched out. You have a certain amount of time to go from ideation to high-fidelity prototype. So you're essentially going through all the steps it would take to launch a digital product. If nothing else, you get a pretty awesome portfolio piece to present to potential employers. So I definitely think it's worth looking into, especially if you guys are just starting out in UI UX design and you just want something to be able to talk about that isn't exactly like a regular personal project that maybe you would share on Dribbble. It's more research driven. I think it's a great program to explore. So let's actually dive into what I was able to produce during this week-long course. Keep in mind, I'm still working on a few things. Some of the copy is pretty bad. I'm not a copywriter by any means. If you guys have any suggestions, visual design suggestions, copy suggestions, really anything, please let me know. I'd love to hear your feedback because this is actually something I'm probably going to be presenting down the road to potential employers and the like. So yeah, feedback welcome. Thank you. So here you're looking at a hero section. We have a screenshot mock-up of the product. We have the logo name. I'm calling this Shogo. I don't know if that's the greatest name, but you know, again, I had a week to produce this, so keep that in mind. A little tagline here. So the basic premise is it's a concert tracking app. I'll get more into the details later. Little description, and then kind of my roles on the project. Moving on, I have a little context. So this is actually an idea that my friend and I had been working on prior, but I wanted to kind of build out this product a bit more during this course, really take advantage of the opportunity to do some research and dive deeper into this project. He had this idea for a concert tracking app. So essentially, prior he was using Facebook to create little mini collages of his concert experiences. He's a big concert goer, so he goes to a lot of like really cool shows and takes a lot of cool pictures. And he had been using Facebook to document his experience. But he came to me thinking, you know what, there's probably a better way to do this. Is there a mobile solution we could come up with? So he gave me some requirements and the basic premise of the app, and he just wanted to see if I could kind of provide a better solution. So again, that's what I used this week for. So moving on, I dove into some competitive analysis. So I looked at some of the competitors in the space. What you're looking at here is just a basic feature comparison. So we have some of the competitors here on the left side. And these are competitors in quotes, right? Like I had a week to do some competitive analysis. So these are just things kind of off the top of my head and that I got from doing some user research, some things that came up. Again, if I had more time, I would obviously do a bit more of a robust competitive analysis. But from left to right, you see some of the features of these apps. If there's an X, it means that these applications have these features. So it kind of gives you some insight to who your closest competitors are. Moving on, I looked at some of the actual user interfaces of these competitors and did some pros and cons of each. So on the left, you'll see fans.com. This app here is a profile screen from the app Radiate. Here's an onboarding experience from Bands in Town, etc., etc. So it's just some competitors that, maybe I could pull some UI elements from and maybe innovate upon. Moving on. A big focus of this course is research-driven design. So we're not just designing for the hell of it. We're actually really understanding our users or potential users of this application that we're designing and getting their feedback. So I conducted a bunch of interviews, and a bunch, meaning 4 in this case. Again, we only had a week, so normally I would probably do at least 10 just to get some insights. But Here you'll see an affinity map, and that's basically just, so I asked all these participants on the left side the same questions. And so this Tom person, he's the pinkish post-it, Rick is the green. So I kind of just organized them by question, and I tried to see if I could draw any more insights from my research. I go into it a bit more detail in this findings section. I did a little call out here. This was an actual conversation I had in a group meet with some of my friends immediately after we attended a music festival, and a lot of what we were saying is pretty relevant to the app concept. So like, for example, my one friend is saying, does anyone have any Grizz videos? He killed it. And my other friend says we should make a shared album, and then we're sharing some concert footage in here. I don't know if you guys have ever done this in GroupMe, but it compresses the hell out of your footage and it just doesn't look good. So like, these are some methods that we had been using in the past that weren't exactly the best, and I tried to highlight them in my story. Then we move on to synthesizing all of our research and creating a persona. So essentially creating who is your target market? Who are you designing this for? This is a fictional character, but it's based on a lot of the research. So this is just like an overview of who we are designing for, essentially. So we go into like his comfort with technology, his criteria for success, his needs, wants, and values. These are all things I learned in this course. I can go into more detail with each of these items in a future video, but for now I'm kind of just skimming through it. Then we get into the actual app architecture. So basically how I'm kind of laying out my app. So I can lightbox this. So we have a primary navigation. I was envisioning some sort of feed, an explore page, adding a moment, which I'll get into, a discuss page, and a profile section. So as you can see, just visually, the profile section is going to be the most robust, along with adding the moment. And so you see these orange border ones are features that I really wanted to just prioritize during this week. I knew I couldn't get to everything given the time constraint, but I wanted some sort of way to produce a minimum viable product and address the core features this week. So moving on to some wireframing. These are the wireframes of the profile section, which will house the main concert tracking features. So from left to right, you have your moment section of the profile. And this is going to be a really interesting collage of your concert experiences. So each of these bordered items is going to be its own quote unquote moment from a festival that you create. Then tabbing over to shows, you have a grid style UI of all of the past shows you've seen. Then tabbing over to artists, you have your top artists in order from most seen to least seen. So this person has seen Radiohead 7 times, and he's kind of tracking this in this profile section. Then I also designed a little map view, and we also have a media gallery to share all of your concert footage and photos with friends. So that's the basic premise there. Next, I got into some usability testing on core features of the app. So in this case, I wanted to test the process of adding a moment to your profile. So the basic idea is you would select either music festival or concert. Then if it was a music festival, you would select all the artists you've seen, who you're with, and then you would create this collage style moment from the festival. And there are 2 ways to do this. I tested 2 different ways. One is a drag and drop quick add, and one is adding from your media gallery. So I got some feedback from the usability testing with the users that tested this. So like, here's the feature I was testing, and here is their feedback. So they were pretty good at adding festivals and artists, but they had some features about the quick add and drop, the quick add, drag and drop, and adding from their media. So stuff I would iterate upon in the future. So it was great hearing their feedback. Then I actually moved into higher fidelity mockups. So added some visual design elements, started to add colors, shadows, images, basically anything that makes this app look like the final product. So did this kind of angled presentation, which I think looks pretty cool. Then I moved on to some motion design. So actually adding motion to the more intricate interactions that I wanted to test further. Like, it was really hard to test this drag and drop with a clickable Envision prototype. So I actually designed this in principle, something I want to test in the future to see how comfortable users are with this drag and drop interface. Here you'll have some card swiping for the map view. another thing that was really hard to test with the clickable prototype because it's actually gesture controlled. And then on the left here, we have just exploration of the profile, seeing if they're comfortable navigating the profile section, which is like a core part of the app. It really houses all the concert tracking features. And then I did a little to be continued and stuff I want to do in the future. I don't know if this is the best way to wrap this up. I'm still kind of working on this. But yeah, I felt like I kind of just ended this a bit abruptly. So there's definitely stuff I want to do in the future, just to continue to build upon this idea. So yeah, guys, that's a quick overview of, I guess, a decent UX portfolio project. I'm sure some of you critics out there will be like, this sucks, or you should have done this there. You know what? I'm pretty happy with this, especially considering I only had a week to produce this. But yeah, your feedback is welcome. I'd really appreciate any feedback. Again, expect some actual Webflow tutorials in the future that'll help you literally design a website in Webflow. Look out for those. Really looking forward to this year, guys. I'm going to try to kind of double down on this YouTube thing. Now that my career is a bit more aligned, I'm going to have a lot to share from my actual work experience, and it's going to be a good year. Just stay tuned for videos. Subscribe if you haven't already. Please like this video if you enjoyed it, and I'll talk to you guys in the next one.